With the new Fantastic Four movie about to drop, it seems like the perfect time to revisit the old 2005 Fantastic Four movie, the first true crack at Marvel's first family. Brushing aside Roger Corman's 1994 low-budget stunt, shot just to hold on to the rights and never meant to be released, the 2005 movie is 20 years old. I rewatched it for the first time since its theatrical run, so I'm coming at this with fresh eyes, and I have opinions. Full spoilers and full analysis ahead. Right out of the gate, I have to hand it to director Tim Story. The movie wears its comic book heart on its sleeve. Unlike the X-Men movies, where they often seemed embarrassed by their mutant roots, they seemed embarrassed to be comic book movies, the Fantastic Four embraces the pulpy, larger-than-life vibe of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's creation. It is drenched in 2005 aesthetics, a soundtrack that screams Hot Topic clearance bin, but it is unapologetically a superhero flick, and I like that. The cinematography is bright, saturated palettes mirrors the colorful panels of the comics, and the production design from Reed's clunky lab to Baxter's building, it seems to nail the aesthetic of the Marvel vibe. The casting was mostly good. Reed Richards is a pitch-perfect elastic nerd. I never read the comics, but from what I can tell, Reed Richards seems like he was perfectly cast. Jessica Alba's Sue Storm brings warmth and strength to the project, even if her invisibility effects look a little dated. Ben Grimm, aka The Thing, was a home run. The practical Thing suit paired with a soulful performance makes every rock grimace hit hard. I kind of chuckle at the name Victor Von Doom. It's kind of on the nose, but I imagine that's the character in the comic book, so we can't change that. Although his story arc veers into cartoonish territory, more on that later. But then, oh man, Chris Evans as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch. I gotta tell you, and a lot of you might not like me for this, but that performance, that character is just awful. The Human Torch is not just cocky, he's rude, condescending, selfish, insufferable, and dumber than a box of burnt matches. The script, penned by Mark Frost and Michael France, seemed to mistake hotshot for borderline sociopath. Johnny's setting fires, flirting like a reject from a reality dating show, and lobbing cruel insults at his team, especially Ben, without one shred of remorse. There isn't one moment where he considers the feelings of his companions. Take the scene where he mocks Ben's appearance, post-transformation. It's not playful ribbing, it's mean-spirited, cruel bullying. He never apologizes, and the team just forgives him for no discernible reason. Evans leans into the smarminess of the character. Now, to his credit, that is how the character was written, and I do not think Chris Evans deserves all of the blame. He is a good actor, as he proved by playing Captain America. But watching him in this movie was just painful. It makes me glad that this character got killed in Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, I said it. It's only the likability of the other three Fantastic Four that keeps the movie afloat. Now let's talk structure, because as an author, I pay a lot of attention to how stories are constructed, and this is where the movie stumbles hard. At a lean 106 minutes, the movie Fantastic Four spends about 80% of its runtime as setup. The space mission, the comic ray accident, the team grappling with their new powers, discovering their powers, it's a classic origin story trap. Too much time establishing, not enough time delivering. The pacing, especially in the first two acts, drags, even if there are some fun comedic moments, like Reed stretching his hand out for toilet paper. The script prioritizes character introductions over momentum, and the movie suffers for it, leaving the action until the final 15 minutes. By contrast, I just had the opportunity to view an early screening of Jurassic World Rebirth. That movie had a very large cast of characters, and none of these characters were in any of the previous films. The movie established these characters very well and very quickly, so we could get to the meat, pun intended, of the story. In other words, it shouldn't take a whole movie to introduce characters, even superpowered characters. We don't see the team in their iconic blue costumes fighting as a cohesive unit until the climax. The climax is a rushed street brawl with Doom, and it feels more like a skirmish than a showdown. Compare that to Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 and 2, with balancing depth and character and skyscraper swinging action. Here, the scope feels claustrophobic, confined to a few New York sets. The bridge sequence earlier in the movie where Thing saves the fire truck has much more going on visually and pops emotionally, and is a much better, more action-oriented, better sequence than the actual climax. The villain plot is another weak point. Doom's motivation, being ousted from his company, feels flimsy and disconnected. It's a corporate grudge that doesn't really justify his leap to world-threatening evil. The script fails to give us a reason to root against him or to understand why he's being the way he is. The performances are fun, but the writing undercuts him with an inconsistent tone, silly one-liners. A tighter script could have leaned harder into Doom's tragic hubris, making him a foil to Reed's intellect. But instead, he's a generic bad guy with shiny armor. That said, it's not all bad. The team dynamic is fun when Johnny's not ruining it. Each of the Fantastic Four is a unique character, and it's hard not to like them. Ben, aka The Thing, steals the show during the entire movie. He's easily my favorite character. I love the practical suit combined with nuanced acting. You can feel his pain. It's palpable. Every moment lands emotionally with that character. Its production limitations show, and I'm not just talking about the computer graphics. The script needed another pass to balance setup and spectacle. That would have been nice. But the tone of the movie is fun, and when you're having fun, you can overlook a lot of flaws. Fantastic Four are iconic for a reason. I'm not just talking about this adaptation of it, but these characters have endured for decades, and I am excited to see what the next Fantastic Four movie will look like. I'll be seeing that in the theater, and I will be doing a review of that, so please hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss when I do that. And by the way, I've never read any Fantastic Four comics because I've always been more of a DC Comics fan, but I love the science fiction superhero vibe, so if you want to make some suggestions about Fantastic Four comics that you think I should read, I would be very happy about that. Until next time, folks, this is Eric Wilfred Watson signing out.